Ready, boys?
Go over to Meatlocker.
The Meatlocker is back. That's right. Welcome.
You go,
Ladies and gentlemen, live from Valley Brook.
Hey, Riley's Pub.
Riley's Pub. We love Riley's Pub. It is the Meatlocker podcast.
Amen.
That's right. The gentleman, Ron Jaworski, ladies and gentlemen, the great Ron Jaworski, Jaws, the great Brian Baldinger, Baldy. I'm Anthony Gargano, cousin. We are here.
Well, what's this get up
What's this
here?
look here today, cousin? You got a
I'm
hood
on the sidelines, man.
You're on a hood.
I'm on the sidelines. I need to wear the hood on the sidelines because I don't
you're
want
making a statement here.
I don't want people to see my notes.
Your Ben McAdoo notes.
These are my Ben McAdoo notes.
How about that IHOP menu of Andy Reid?
Yes.
Well, let us begin with what the mess is in New York. That is the big news across the NFL, and we need to begin with it, guys.
Yes.
Eli Manning, two-time Super Bowl MVP, two-time Super Bowl champion. Eli Manning is
the starter of
benched.
210 straight games in a row, Jaws.
Yes.
And you were an Iron Man, Jaws, in this business. You know how hard that is, how many times you played with who knows what was broken, dislocated, sprained. You lost count.
Yeah, 210 is a ridiculous number. For a long time, I think of almost 20 years, I held the record at 116. I was in Green Bay, stopped the game when Brett Favre went to 117. Now you look at Favre, you look at Manning, you look at Manning.
100 pass.
Yeah, it's just 100 pass. So, Eli Manning, one of the real iron men of the game, and also one of the great competitors of the game.
Yep.
And here's what I hate to see. We all know the quarterback gets too much credit when you win, too much blame when you lose.
True.
If you watch that Giants team, of course you have.
Yeah.
They're brutal.
They're all horrible.
They can't protect him.
Yep.
Receivers can't catch, and they can't run it. Okay, so bench the quarterback. There you go. That's going to work.
Well, it makes no sense. But if this was going into this season, we all knew that they had issues in protection. Who do they draft? A tight end that's a pass-catching tight end. They had issues at running back.
It's a poorly constructed team, cuz. It's a poorly constructed team. They couldn't run the ball last year, and they didn't address it. And so then they didn't address it in the draft, Jaws, with offensive linemen or running backs. They didn't bring anybody in. They didn't go out there in a running back-rich draft. They didn't go get anybody. They didn't do anything to help your quarterback. I mean, the quarterback position is this idea that quarterbacks put teams on their backs and they can just carry them is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It's always been crazy. Quarterbacks can do a lot, and they can lead, and they can help. They can put you in good plays. They can compete. But quarterbacks have never been able to do it by himself. Johnny Unitas played on a lot of bad teams. He couldn't do it. The great Johnny U. Dan Marino went to a couple of Super Bowls, never won one.
The one.
His rookie year.
Yeah, rookie year. Never got back. Baldy, you nailed it. The quarterback position is a dependent position. You depend on other people doing their job so you can do your job.
You're right.
And if you don't have a good cast of characters around you, I don't care who you are. Dan Marino, that's why right or wrong, Dan Marino, I played 2 years with Dan. One of the best pure passers ever to put the helmet on. Anywhere.
His favorite. His favorite.
You know what? But then again, what did Dan win? Never won a Super Bowl. Don Shula, as great as coach he was, the winningest coach in the history of the league, depended too much on Dan to win games.
Yeah.
Didn't put that supporting cast in place. Didn't run the football.
Never had the running
Didn't play good enough defense. Depended on Dan. And Dan couldn't do it by himself, no matter how good he was.
So what is the motive? Let's look at the motive, guys. So obviously, you look at where they are. It's a lost season for them. So it would make some sort of sense if you wanted to take a look at Davis Webb, all right? Guy you drafted the year before last in the third round. Let's take a look at what you got. I guess you can make that thing. But Geno Smith, what in the world, why in the world would you bench Eli Manning for Geno Smith? Jaws, I mean, do you have any kind of comprehension there? What's the motive?
Well, I will say this about Geno Smith. I go to Morgantown, his pro day. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
I liked his
tape.
Got
a big arm.
Yeah, I thought he had all those attributes that projected him to be a solid NFL quarterback. All of a sudden, you see him in the NFL, that wasn't the same guy. The level of competition exposed him. He didn't throw accurately enough.
And a pro offense,
he's with the Jets, and it just didn't get the job done. Now he goes to New York. Hey, you're in a backup position. What do the Giants see Ben McAdoo, Jerry Reese, and think that, okay, let's give him a chance here. He's a backup quarterback. And you know what? That's great. There's only 64 of those jobs in the world available.
But why are you giving a backup quarterback an opportunity? Here's the thing, Jaws. You got a 2-time Super Bowl MVP, right? He can't get it done. None of these guys are going to get it done. The team isn't going to play differently because Geno Smith or play better because Geno Smith's at quarterback or Davis Webb gets a chance. The futility is still going to be there. It's a poorly constructed team. And I went back and I just went back and watched the Thanksgiving Day game against the Redskins. The concepts of what they're doing was awful. It's just awful. I mean, no quarterbacks can be successful. The rookie right offensive tackle playing Ryan Kerrigan with no help. The protection is just breaking down and collapsing on Eli Manning. He's doing his best just to survive out there. You got Evan Ingram dropping passes right in his hands.
Yeah, here's your guy that's going to really open up the offense from the tight end position. And it was actually, John Gruden was somewhat comical the other night, and I thought he was right on point. Talking about the tight end, there is no that there are very few of those guys
not at the end anymore.
I mean,
they're slot receivers.
They're slot receivers. There's no such thing. I almost laugh when I look at you.
I'm doing it for you. It's just for you, Jaws. I was going to come to your daughter's wedding.
Maybe the air conditioning on is.
I wanted to come to your daughter's wedding just like this.
You
make sounds in Cancun.
You would have been big at Nazook Resort in Cancun.
Yes.
If that's all you do is open up like you opened this show, yes. I would not have been able to walk down the aisle.
Right before the priest is about to marry him, I wanted to do
whatever the hell you do, I don't know.
To you, by the way, just as we just all quickly digress, like in The Godfather, the day of the daughter's wedding, you're supposed to grant favors. So could you imagine? You remember the scene,
yeah,
right?
I know the scene.
Right? So Jaws, who is the godfather of football all over the country, especially here in Philadelphia, you should be granting favors.
I have a feeling that the favor that Jaws granted was writing the check for that resort.
No, Zook Resort was happy that I wrote that check.
Yes.
Hey, my daughters are married. My son is married. Hey, I tell you what, I could bank some money now.
Start saving something now.
Listen, on the day of your daughter's wedding, we hope that your grandchild is a masculine son. You remember Luca Brasi in the famous scene, Baldy?
Famous scene. Famous scene.
So, but you look at what's going through. You had that similar situation in Philadelphia with Randall Cunningham when, for the life of me, the ridiculous scenario of bringing Randall Cunningham in on 3rd and long, which was so ridiculous. What was going through your mind when they went, hey, we're going to do this?
It was the dumbest thing ever. And I respected Buddy Ryan. He was our head coach.
Yeah.
But Buddy had no respect for offensive football. I mean, he was the most brilliant defensive guy I had ever been around. He did not know offense. So obviously Randall was a very talented guy.
Yeah.
The mobile guy, he could run around. The guy was phenomenal. To this day, he's still one of my dear friends. We communicate, and we actually had fun with the whole thing. So 3rd and 7 or more. Literally, it was it.
That was the benchmark.
That was the benchmark.
3rd and 7 or longer.
The hardest down in football.
Right.
Disaster down, everything. Okay, let's put the rookie quarterback in there who missed half a training camp and everything else.
Didn't know the playbook.
Not exactly the studio style.
I'm like, Coach, this is like the hardest down and everything. No, Randall go out there and make some plays. And hey, the guy was a phenomenal athlete. I'm taking nothing away from him. He wasn't ready. He wasn't. And I this is the Meatlocker, so we always give a story. We're playing down in Washington, 3rd and 10. He comes on the field. Yeah, and we actually Randall was cool. He was cool with everything. Yeah. I'd run off, he'd run, we'd high five like a wrestling tag team, and
you high five, you tell him what to do on the play, Jones?
Yeah, he's got the plays run. There were only like 3 plays. We didn't have. It was like 3rd and 7, you don't have the open play, but 3rd and 10, you don't have no. So we actually had fun with it, which was great. We both understood. Yeah, I know. Yeah, he needed some playing time, whatever. But that's like the worst position you want to put a quarterback in, 3rd and long. So we're playing the Redskins, and Mike Quick is in the slot. So I get the sideline. I'm standing next to Ted Plum, the offensive coordinator, and Mike Quick is up against Darryl Green. And Darryl Green's a bitch now.
Yeah.
The guy is a bitch.
The fastest player in the league.
So the first thing I see is they go split safety, and Mike Quick is one-on-one with Darryl Green. So hey, Mike's in his prime.
Sure.
Man.
Mike
can beat
Jump
anybody.
over anybody.
So he gives a choo-choo-choo and runs by Darryl Green. And Mike's running down the middle of the field.
Arm up.
They're running down the field. Safety's, we got fades up on it. This thing is like wide open, man. It's like ball to your completeness. And Anthony, you might complete it. It's like wide open.
Good arm.
So Randall runs around for 7 yards. Oh, the crowd. Oh, whoa, great! Oh, God, great run, great
He
run.
missed the wave.
So Randall, I said, man, it was cover 2. You had Mike wide open down the middle field. What were you looking at? I was reading the rush, man. I mean, that's what I guess. That was the beginning of the new wave of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Right? Eyes were down. Where's the place? And it was a great 7-yard run, but we punted.
Yeah. Just to follow up with the Randall. Since we're talking quarterbacks, we're talking Randall. We used to meet as an offensive line every Saturday morning for breakfast at this diner right here in Cherry Hill. So the whole offensive line, Ron Heller, myself, Dave Alexander, we all get there. So Jim McMahon used to come and eat breakfast with us every single Saturday morning. And Jim would sit there and he would tell stories. He was out all night. So he had great stories from the night before, right?
Yeah.
So he's telling us about what he did the night before, the whole thing, right? But at about an hour into the breakfast, every Saturday morning, he'd have to leave because he had to go to the locker room and take Randall's test for him. He took Randall's test. He did Randall's test every Saturday morning. And then
His quarterback test.
The quarterback test. Then Randall would turn the test in, and he would pass the test. That's how they did it.
Come on, wait.
No, Jaws. This is get Ron Heller on the phone. He would leave every Saturday morning and go take Randall's test for him, and then Randall would turn the test in.
So
I'm having a hard time.
This is ridiculous. No,
this is
ridiculous.
This is how Randall operated then.
Yeah.
Okay, but the coaches.
No, Jim McMahon did Randall's test for him every single week.
You're right. Randall Cunningham. I think who's Jim McMahon?
Well, all right. Well, let's move away from that.
Well,
Wait. Anthony isn't even speaking.
Yeah. No, I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. That's absurd.
It is absurd.
It's ridiculous.
Let's put a bow on Eli Manning here because he deserves better than this. Look, if you want to make the switch to Davis Webb at some point, you can almost buy it. You cannot buy any of this for Geno Smith. And he just deserves better. Like, the team is a mess. Whether they're 2-9 or whether they're 3-13 this year, it's not going to make a difference. They have to address the whole situation. We've seen other quarterbacks from Joe Montana on move on. But they didn't do it when they had a certifiable backup quarterback bench him, for this guy during the season. They didn't do that.
Here's what I can understand. And we were talking before we came on the air. I was part of the Eagles search committee to hire a new coach. I was in the interview room with Ben McAdoo. Very, very impressive.
You thought the Eagles should have hired him.
Yeah, I thought,
he was going to be hired.
Yeah, this was,
he was the next
this
Eagles
was early.
coach.
This was early in the process, and before it all played out. And to the Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman and Don Smolinski and all the guys that were involved in that process, they did not want to make. They were going to play the process out. I was impressed with Ben McAdoo. Obviously, I knew Doug Peterson. I knew Tom Coughlin. Those are, hey, those guys,
sure.
In my opinion, I knew what they were. I knew Ben McAdoo. I did not know him as well as, I knew the other guys.
Yeah.
His interview was flat out really, really good.
Wow.
Really, really good. They won 11 games last year.
No,
so the guy's not
the guy that endorsed him was Eli.
Well, Eli wanted him.
He didn't want to lose him.
Eli was upset that night and went to the Giants and said, hey, I don't want to lose this guy. I don't want to start all over.
Right, the minute the Giants find out the Eagles are that serious with him, they're going to offer him the job.
Within 12 hours, he had a new contract.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but what it leads you to believe that, is this Ben McAdoo's decision, or is it further up the flagpole?
But further up the flagpole,
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to be a fly in the wall how they made this decision, and then maybe eventually it'll come out. Everything always comes out. But, I don't know who in that room would say, yeah, we're better without Eli.
Yeah. Well, again, but unless that's what you're trying to do, and you're trying not to win and secure a
That's
top
what I'm saying.
draft
So
pick.
I don't know who in the Mara family might have something to say. Is it John, Chris, or
we don't want to win, and
any of those people, or Jerry Reese? I don't know what their pecking order is.
Yeah,
who's got your choice? Make the call. They flip a coin. I doubt that. I said that sarcastically because these are very serious decisions. They all take them seriously.
But again, you're in this disaster season. You want to come away with the number one pick in the draft. So therein lies. I just don't know if you want to lose games. Davis Webb will help you lose games too. At least you can understand what you have.
Find out if he can or cannot play. Maybe
right, exactly. Because you're going to have a top pick, and you got to figure out who you want to draft. That's what now. But what happens? Look, long term, end of the year, is Ben McAdoo 2 and out. Jerry Reese is gone.
Yeah,
I mean he's the architect. I got to believe he's gone. But is Ben?
Well,
McAdoo,
you heard Baldy talking. What's the plan? There doesn't appear to be a plan.
Is he 2
Who
and
built
out?
this team?
Well, he can't discipline his team. I mean, they've already suspended 2 high-priced players on the team, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie and the Jackrabbit. They've already disciplined them and suspended them. But he can't discipline his own team.
Yeah.
And the team isn't playing. They're not playing smart. It's the same defense that was second defense in the league last year. And there's been games this year when they obviously aren't communicating at all. Now, it all comes to the head coach.
Well, wait. I'll defer a little bit to that. You got Steve Spagnuolo, who's been around this league for a long time, been a head coach in this league. Same group of guys you had a year ago. All of a sudden, they can't tackle.
Yeah.
You got discipline problems.
I'm not saying
I really don't know.
I
don't know what.
Well, I will tell you, having spoken to him, I mean, I know there are some issues at linebacker and depth at linebacker, and they've been beset by injuries, but they also have front runners. I mean, let's face it, DRC's been a front runner his whole career. I mean, he's a guy that as soon as the time gets tough, they'll quit on you. There's a reason why coaches don't want front runners on your team because of this thing. When you're teetering, it's funny, the conversation I had with Spags was interesting. We talked about the Eagles game. And the Eagles game, if you guys remember, the Giants had that game right before halftime. They get stuffed on a third and goal, third and one.
Couldn't score from the 1.
Couldn't score.
So it's 4th down. They lost the yard. So it's 4th down from the 2. They go for it instead of kicking the field goal.
Right, take the points.
So he did that twice, Ben McAdoo, and failed both times. The Giants should have won if not for remember Elliott's
61-yard
field goal, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it played out. So I was talking to Spags about that. He goes, that was the moment where it propelled the Eagles.
Yeah.
And it basically
no question.
There is no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Eagles finish this off and have Super Bowl type year,
point.
that's the game they look at. That's it. And
then the following week they went to the Chargers, and they squeaked out a win. I mean, they ran the ball well in the fourth quarter, but that wasn't they didn't hand them the game.
Well, Baldy and I, we've had this discussion about going for 2 and not kicking field goals, and maybe I'm old school. Baldy and I kind of see it the same way. You take the points when you can get them. Don't chase points. Don't listen to the crowd cheer and go for it and they boo when you don't get it.
Right.
You got to have a plan, and the plan should be take your points when they're available.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in 3rd and 1,
they're going to score
4th and 1, and there's a lot of time left.
And you got all the stats there, Jaws. I mean,
I got stats, baby. I got stats. I got
you
stats.
got 2 bookfuls.
Oh, yeah. My coffee busts his tail to prepare me.
But it really does.
Sensational.
The interesting thing, though, is if you look at your stats, Jaws, there's so much more scoring in the second half of games than the first half.
Well, what's your favorite line, Baldy? Every halftime.
Yeah, 7-6 at the halftime of every game in this league.
Yeah.
We got breaking news here, Jaws.
I know it.
Your good friend, former teammate.
9 years, my teammate.
Herman
Edwards.
The new coach at Arizona State.
Yeah, the Sun Devils, man. I did what I did.
That is freaking awesome for Herm. But I will admit, I'm a little surprised. I thought Herm had kind of found his comfort zone on television.
Yeah,
he's great on TV.
he's great.
Terrific football coach. I'm actually surprised he did not have a better NFL career. I think Herm is a brilliant technician. A brilliant tactician.
Good communicator.
Yeah, can communicate, does all the right stuff. I'm actually, I kind of know, but I'd rather keep it to myself why he wasn't more successful. And some of it was surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
And I think he made some mistakes in that area because I think Herm Herm was a terrific
Jaws,
football guy.
He may be putting the call into you here
No.
to be his offensive coordinator. Yes.
How cool
Hey,
is
I
that
don't
thing?
know the zone read offense.
You know, they had Danny White was there at Arizona
Yeah.
State this year. They brought him on board to be a consultant to look at the offense. And I remember talking. I did an Arizona State Texas Tech game this year. They had a lot of talent. They have a running back that's going to be. Yeah. He's a 6'4", 235-pound back. He's going to be.
Well, they came back and beat Arizona last. They had
they?
some talent. Yeah,
They got
last
talent,
week
man.
Arizona jumped
got a
out
receiver.
to a big lead, and Arizona State came back and beat them. Receivers good.
They got a receiver and they got a running back that could be first-round picks.
You know what would be a great story? If you get guys like you and Herm and everybody, the veteran guys get together and run one program.
Love to do that.
That would be awesome.
I would love to.
Jaws,
By the way, this is like live TV,
Yes,
breaking news. I'm reaching out to Herm, man.
Call him up.
I got to figure out if this is. Hey.
Tell him we're taking odds to beat Chip Kelly at UCLA next year.
Go Herm.
Yeah, this is television, baby. This is how we roll at the Meatlocker,
That's
right? That's how
right.
we roll.
So, but it's kind of interesting because Herm follows what Lovie Smith did in wanting to coach, and Lovie went to Illinois.
How'd that work out?
Difficult.
He lost his last 10 in a row at Illinois.
Very
10
young.
straight games.
Wow.
You know, the whole thing. Is college a place for an NFL veteran? Is it college for you? Baldy, look, you do games every weekend, every Saturday. You know how difficult it is to get on the recruiting trail and how tough it is.
But, you know, but what you do, though, I mean, Jaws runs this incredible business, you know, with his golf courses, restaurants, and all that. You got to put the right people in place. Nick Saban isn't getting on a jet and flying to all these little towns to go get these kids. When it's needed, he will. But he's got this network of operators that have this thing really, like, all the tentacles are out there. All the high school coaches are invited to spring training and all. They can come by. Like, you build these relationships. And that's, you know, your tentacles, that's your lifelines to recruiting. And so when you say, you don't want to go back in recruiting, they're going to delegate this stuff. They'll have, I mean, Matt Rule hired 4 Texas high school coaches on his staff when he went to Baylor.
Yeah.
And they have grassroots to all these high schools where the players are. And that's what you do. You build a network. Just like you build a staff, you build a network to go out and recruit.
It's about people. It's
people.
about relationships. That's where it starts. You can find a lot of X and O's guys. I can find a lot of good bartenders, and I can find a lot of good chefs. But do they buy into your culture?
Yeah.
You know, and that's
set the culture.
You set the culture, and that's what it's about. I'm still trying to reach Herm, by the way.
All right,
but I'm on the ESPN.com trying to. If anyone would know, it would be ESPN. He works for ESPN, right? I mean,
He had to let them know. Seth Markman would probably know.
I would think so. If
I
Herm's
talked to
taking
Schefter today, and he said it was going to happen, and the whole thing, and it's a fascinating whole thing.
It's what's fascinating about it to me, though, Cuz, is it Herm sitting up there in Bristol or out there in Monterey, Jaws, going, you know, if this TV thing, it's coming to an end for a lot of guys at ESPN.
Yep.
Like, let me give myself a parachute here. Hey, there's a couple jobs. Chip just got this job. They're looking for, you know, qualified people right now. Yep. Like, there's a lot of open college jobs. All right, Chip got one. Who's going to Florida? Who's going to Tennessee? So is Herm being proactive here, do you think, Jaws? Without really knowing.
I know. I would be surprised. I think Herm is very comfortable in what he's doing now. He's got a great gig at ESPN. We all know Herm. Herm is about as classy guy as you'll ever meet in the business. He lives just outside of Monterey at Clint Eastwood's Tehima Country Club Resort.
It's a good life, Charles.
Yeah, I've been there, man. It is good living, man. It's a great golf. And I love golf.
It's good life now.
So I'm thinking, Herm. You know, people aren't questioning you at ESPN. You're the king, man. You know, when Herm says, "Yeah, that's right," Herm said that. You know, you get back into coaching, people question everything you do. I mean, you go right into the oven, right into it. So, hey, but Herm's a competitor now. Well, one thing about Herm now, the TV Herm is different than like we're a little different than when we got to zero in on what we do. You know?
I'll say this, Charles. When he was coaching Kansas City. Their summer training camp was when they were in River Falls, Wisconsin, right? So I was up there for the NFL Network, and I'm doing a story with Herm. We're going to film their practice, Jaws. So I got to go see Herm about what we can film, what we can't film. So Herm says, you know, meet me at the gym at 4 a.m. Herm's up. Now, he's got a coffee. the biggest cup you can get, right, Jaws? He's got the biggest cup you can have, and he's on the treadmill at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And like he's on, like his day has started. And there's no when Herm starts his day, there's no like I'm a little tired. He doesn't even sit down to eat. He just picks. And that's who he is, man. He got an unbelievable energy level.
I know you covered him at the NFL level, like I did, and I'm covering games. You got a 1 o'clock game. You're down the field 9:30, 10 o'clock, sometimes early, depending on when your hits are. Herm's running reps.
Yeah.
Herm's in better shape than most of the damn guys playing the game. I mean, Herm takes great care of himself. He's got all the attributes you look for. Yeah. I mean, he's not necessarily, he is one of the smart guys in the game. The collegiate game, the NFL game, different organizations. He's got a resume that's pretty deep.
Yeah.
He's a hardworking guy. He's well-respected in business. He'll put a great staff together.
Yep.
I'm just surprised that the lifestyle changed because, he's got a nice style, if this report is true from Bleacher Report.
I think it is, and Schefter said it today. But let's look at another story.
Well, wait a minute. If Schefter's at ESPN, why is Bleacher Report reporting that he's the next head coach when he works for ESPN?
But Schefter said it this morning. He said Bleacher's it this morning.
Schefter probably said it first, and Bleacher's just taking it.
So, all right, let's. I'm dying
we got coffee working on this. We got our PI going here right now. we got. Wait.
Well, let's talk
Come
about
on, coffee. What do you got? Give us something.
Now, Schefter told me this morning at 7 or 8 o'clock that he was going. How about that?
Charles, I will say this, Charles.
Right from the
That's how we roll,
mouth.
Anthony.
Right,
Charles, I will say this about these college jobs now. Chip just signed a deal for $23.5 million. The money is bigger than it's ever been, Charles.
How much?
Okay.
The Eagles, when he left the Eagles, they owed him like 15.
This is what I want to bring
He goes
up.
to San Francisco. How much they owe him?
Hold on, I'm going to give you the number.
There's buyout.
Since 2010, all right?
Yeah.
Since 2010.
It's 100.
Chip Kelly, $100,500,000
in contracts
worth of deals since 2010.
Yeah. Charles, the money has changed. And,
Charles,
I'm running bars and restaurants and go.
$100 million.
Hey, I'm making a living, though, Anthony. I'm happy with that. Yeah.
But, when you –
$100 million.
But, Jaws, think about this, though. Like, Chip has, I don't know if there's another stop for Chip. I mean, this is probably going to be it, right? So he's got to make this work at UCLA. But when you look at what Nick Saban has done at Alabama, and when you win, what it does to the alumni, to the endowment, all these things, the University of Alabama is one of the toughest schools to get into right now. Because they've got so much facilities, they get the best professors, but that's all tied to Nick Saban and the success at Alabama.
Okay, so if you're Chip Kelly, let me ask you a question. You have a choice between Florida and UCLA. Now, he clearly takes UCLA because he wants to hide in plain sight. He wants to go to a major media market in Los Angeles where it's the second football program behind USC and behind the Rams, Chargers, Dodgers, Lakers, Clippers, you name it. So he doesn't have to deal with the media.
I don't believe that.
I got it from someone close to Chip.
But my take on it would be this. He's recruited L.A. He out-recruited Pete Carroll in L.A.
I would agree with Baldy. I think he goes there. Number one, he don't want to compete in the SEC. I think it's easier to win the Pac-10 on a consistent basis. He will win. Chip Kelly is a damn good collegiate coach. He will win at UCLA.
Look,
they will be
recruited
a
LA when he
force.
was in Oregon, so he can recruit LA.
He can recruit LA. That's a very good point.
When he went into L.A., he went in. DeAnthony Thomas was going to USC. Yeah. He was on his way to USC, and he got him. You ever been to Eugene, Oregon? That's not an easy place to recruit. But he was pulling players out of L.A. and out of Texas. Like he knows the fertile ground that L.A. is.
But my question to you guys, though, is it's not like Gainesville is a place where you can't win. I know it's the other division in the SEC, but it's Gainesville.
No, look, here's the thing.
And they have incredible facilities in Gainesville.
Look, the whole key to winning in college football is recruiting. That's the whole game, right? So there's 3 spots in our country.
Florida, Texas, California.
That's it. All right? So Texas is number 1, Florida's number 2, California's number 3.
Whatever happened to Pennsylvania and Ohio?
But they're up there, Jaws. I mean,
that used to be, hey,
Jaws,
you gotta get,
they just don't have population.
Yeah.
But, Ohio State, Penn State, they built their programs on those kids. All right, you could get all the line. But you still got to go get speed. You got to get a quarterback. All right, so Chip is going to get his quarterback out of L.A., or maybe it goes back to Hawaii, and maybe there's another Mariota someplace. But he'll get his quarterback, and he'll get his speed, and he'll get his athletes, and then, he'll get the weight room going, and he'll get the Polynesian kids, and he'll put this whole thing together.
It's thing you mentioned about how you build a college program, because Jim Tressel is a good friend of mine now, the president at Youngstown State University. Yep. And when he was at Youngstown in the 90s.
Oh, is he the president now?
He's the president.
Wow.
President of the university.
Holy cow. Good for Jim.
Yeah,
he went
coach.
Full circle.
Yeah, he went right to the top, man.
Yeah.
And doing a phenomenal job, by the way. So he wins national championships in the 90s. Oh, you'll find no better person. And he took a hit for a lot of people. And I'll leave it at that.
Yep.
Because he's got class, character, and would not throw anyone under the bus. He took the hit at Ohio State. So he wins at Youngstown State. He wins a national championship at Ohio State. And I've had numerous conversations with him, how he recruited, how he built the team, blah, blah, blah. It was really pretty simple. I want speed and I want quickness, and I go to Florida.
Yeah, sure.
I want tough linebacker, offensive line mentality, Western Pennsylvania, Northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
And that's how he recruited.
Yeah.
And that's how he won national championships.
Yep.
At the small school at Youngstown and Ohio State. That was his formula. So, if you can replicate that formula, you give yourself a chance for success.
I got to do one thing before we move on to the NFL.
What do you got to do?
I got to ask you guys about the college football rankings.
Yeah.
Because now it's serious. All right? And now it actually matters. And I'm just curious because I don't know how you put Clemson ahead of Alabama when Clemson lost to Syracuse on a Friday night and Alabama loses to Auburn at Auburn in the last game of the season.
I agree with you.
But not just that. They're not even in the top 4.
Yeah.
No, that's
five.
what I'm saying. Alabama's five.
They're out of the playoffs
I'll give you Wisconsin because they're unbeaten. Schedule aside.
Oklahoma.
All right. I give you Oklahoma without a doubt. But I can't give you.
Although you can say the same thing. They lost to Iowa State at home. Like they have a blemish on their record at home to Iowa State. That's their loss. So like I just think that none of this conversation that took place last night and the rankings last night mean anything. You got to play it all the way out.
Yep.
As soon as these conference championship games and the Big Ten and the ACC and the Big 12 this week, as soon as they all take place, you're going to figure out who the top 4
Does
are.
Wisconsin lose to Ohio State?
No.
Wow.
No. I think Wisconsin might be the best team in the country.
You like Hornibrook?
They play football.
Yeah.
They
play in the trenches.
Yeah, I mean,
trench warfare.
What we like to say, as Doug Marone said, we're gonna hit you right in the mouth.
Yeah.
You
I
hit you right in the mouth.
tonight,
That's how Wisconsin. They're not fancy. They're not tricky. They got a bunch of guys that play the game of football. It's not tricks. It's not gimmicks and gadgets. They're gonna line up and play football. We'll see how it plays out, but I like that
Miami beat
Wisconsin
Clemson.
team.
I don't know who's going to win. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, can Oklahoma, are they going to beat TCU? I mean, I have my doubts that, I love Baker Mayfield. I think he's the best player in the country.
Our camera has a problem with his hands. He's doing something like this. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's trying to steal it. He's trying to steal a chain.
I hope Baker comes to Maxwell Awards this year, Jaws. I hope he's your player of the year.
He will
He's
be.
my favorite player.
I think he will be, yes.
I wouldn't bet against him, but I know Gary Patterson well. I mean, I wouldn't give that game just to Oklahoma on Saturday.
Gary Patterson was a Maxwell Award winner, Coach of the Year one time.
Gary Patterson?
Oh, yeah, he was in.
Yeah.
He was in.
Yeah.
All right, great stuff. By the way, guys, the ratings for college football are through the roof. So it's got to be a matter of time before they expand the
It's
field
a great product.
to 8 or maybe even 16.
I think watching college football in the months of October and November is as good as it gets.
I'm with you.
I think it's as good as it gets.
Hey,
I love it.
The NFL's in trouble. We agree on that. People aren't watching the NFL right now, and there's something about college football. There's an energy.
Yeah, there's
a
energy.
Suspense. There's just something about it.
But there's it's wholesome. You're on these college campuses. You got these bands, these incredible bands out there. I mean, it's just. I mean, the fans are fanatic.
the bands, man. I think Baldy's going to these colleges.
I look at these
Baldy's
pictures.
down there at Baylor. He's out there.
There's all the cheerleaders around them.
The cheerleaders ridiculous, Charles. I mean, there's 100 on every team.
You know, in today's world, you better be careful talking about the cheerleaders.
You're right. Baldy's hands are in his pockets. All right.
They're grabbing me, Charles.
Oh!
They want to be on TV.
Baldy. All right, now let's get off of this quickly before something happens. All right. The thing that's so interesting about there is a storyline in the NFL, and there's two great storylines going on, and they're headed for a collision course. And this is all due respect to the Rams and all due respect to the Saints. But I want to get to the two storylines. One is in Philadelphia with Carson Wentz. And we talked our last episode a lot about the Eagles and what they've done, and it's completely fascinating stuff. The other one is Minnesota. And the storyline in Minnesota is this. Obviously, no team has ever hosted a Super Bowl. And if you're sitting in Minnesota right now, that's the talk. Is this team, can this team be the first team to do it with a guy named Case Keenum? And the similarities between the Eagles and Vikings, very interesting because you know about the trade with Sam Bradford and the whole thing. This week, the Eagles have Seahawks. Next week, the Rams, both on the road. The Vikings this week have Atlanta and then Carolina, successive games on the road. And I'm curious which of those two teams will win and maybe get home field throughout during these next couple weeks.
Well, I like Minnesota. I like and
you think going on the road, those two teams.
Well, I mean, just right now.
Oh, you're talking about you like them as a team.
As a team.
Right,
I mean, just
I'm with you.
This Minnesota defense, what Zimmer is doing right now with these A gaps here, and like they're making you protect a certain way, and then either they're coming or they're getting out, and they've got a guy Anthony Barr that can be in the A gap here, and he can make a play on a tackle on a sideline. And then Kendricks can do the same thing. And then if you look at Xavier Rhodes and how he's playing, he's going to play Julio this week. Yep. He can lock up. He's as good as there is in this business at the cornerback position right now. A lot of people don't recognize that. They don't talk about it. He's as good as there is. He'll be him and Julio on Sunday. And Zimmer trusts him. But they've got Hunter Smith. They've got players everywhere. Everson Griffin could be a defensive player of the year. This defense is for real. And then if you watch Case Keenum right now, you know, he is not doing anything that he's not capable of doing. They have just enough pieces. Adam Thielen is a big-time player.
Been amazing his performance.
He's a big-time player. All right, he's every bit the player that Jordy Nelson has been and is in this league for 10 years. He's Jordy Nelson. People don't recognize his speed because of his skin color. But he is competitive, he's athletic, and they have just enough pieces. Kyle Rudolph, you have Adam Thielen, you get Stephon Diggs, you got just enough pieces to be able to make the offense work.
And the offensive line is much improved over a year ago.
Yeah.
However, that all being said, it's going to come down to what quarterback's going to be hot. And all due respect to Case Keenum, the pedigree isn't there. Although, as I'm saying that, a random thought, you know, when you have 32 concussions, you get a lot of random thoughts. You know?
Yeah, okay.
John McClain, the great sports writer down in the Houston Chronicle, and I remember a couple of years ago talking about Case Keenum to him. And he's a Texas guy, and, John McClain really.
Stephenville, Texas.
And John McClain is, hey, he's true blue Texas. And, I would talk about what I see on the tape, an average quarterback, blah, blah, blah.
System.
And all of a sudden you
Same system as Kevin Cobb.
You would talk to John, and he would say, Ron, I'm not going to argue with you, but there's something special about this kid. When you're around him, when the players are around him, and there are those. If you put Joe Montana tape on at Notre Dame, you'd probably see an okay arm, you'd probably see okay movement, but there was something magical.
Yeah.
And I don't like the word "it" because that means nothing to me. It's a throwaway word, but I just keep thinking of what John told me. He's followed this kid's high school career, and this kid's always been a winner, and he makes plays, and people knock him down. What he can't do, he continues to make plays. Now he has made mistakes for the Vikings, but he's made a lot more positive plays. So, can he make those plays?
All those things that you talk about quarterbacks. Anticipation,
they're
seeing
all there.
The field.
Mobility on the move, the things that he's doing. The system. Pat Shurmur, by the way, a guy that, as we talked earlier, was a high candidate for the Eagles job.
Yeah.
Pat Shurmur will get a head coaching job in this league. He won 9 games with the Browns. People forget that.
Yeah.
He won 9 games coaching the Browns a few years ago. Pat Shurmur has done an amazing job with that Vikings offense.
I agree.
He will be a head coach in the NFL.
It's fascinating the tale of the two teams and the paths that they're on because, look at the Eagles now. The Eagles have just rolled. They
steamrolled the competition.
The last 6 weeks, they haven't played a close game.
The games have been over at halftime. And the other thing, Jaws, and I think you can speak to this. I mean, to me, the Eagles at this point, I know they got Seattle and Los Angeles coming up, but they're going to fight complacency between now and New Year's Day. I mean, there's just going to be that factor where these games are over at halftime, and they're not getting tested in ways where can you come back if you're behind? What do you do? What is your offense if you got to travel the field and go 80 to go win a game? Drew Brees does it almost every single week. I mean, he's practiced at it. Carson doesn't get that many opportunities to do that right now.
Yeah, there are 5 games left. We're going to find out. They're going to fall behind in one of these games. I mean, they have been in the first quarter unbelievable, offensively and defensively. They have dominated the first quarter like no team I can ever remember. I don't have ESPN stats are doing that, but this has been a total.
They take the opening drive down to score, Joe.
Down to score, then defense gets a turnover and the game over.
Yeah.
Now they're playing inferior. The Bears were,
right.
And I felt bad for John Fox and Vic Fangio and guys. That team. We're talking about how do you build a team? How's that team built? What are they doing? What are they doing in Chicago?
Yeah.
Well, that's a mess. That's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: when you look at where they're at defensively, you can't run on them. And I think that's one of the issues is, you can't establish a run game against them, and now all of a sudden you couple with the offense, now you're out of your game plan.
It's funny. I'm looking ahead to this game against Seattle, which is going to be a good litmus test for the Eagles. Seattle's a good football team, although depleted right now. They know how to win. It's Seattle. It's Pete Carroll. They're a well-coached football team. I will be shocked. I will say this. I know it won't happen.
Yeah.
If they try to run inside. If the Seahawks try to run inside. They won't pee a drop.
No.
They will not pee a drop.
No, I agree.
If they don't run zone read, they can't block anybody. And this front four of the Eagles will just knock their ass
Russell
backwards.
Wilson is the leading rusher on that team.
Leading rusher.
By 193 yards.
It's
by
incredible.
almost 200 yards,
Yeah.
he's the leading rusher.
Yeah.
And they're not designed runs. I mean, there's a couple read options, but it's just scrambles.
The whole offense is Russell Wilson.
The whole offense.
I mean, it's just the ad lib offense. You can't. I mean, they've gotten by with that.
Yeah.
But they also had Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor and Cliff Averill. So those guys are gone.
Yeah.
They're
not coming back.
Yeah.
All right, but when you look at the Eagles now, just going forward, do you like how the offense is going? Like when you look at the running back by committee, it's odd, right? Like when you look at usually. But they're running out 4 backs.
They're making it work right now.
I mean, how does that
I talked
happen?
to Corey Clement on Sunday before the game, and they're running the inside traps. They're running whams. They're like going back to like the old school type of plays. And these guys are all good at it. I think LeGarrette Blount got hot. They stay with them. There's plays for each guy to kind of get them. And really, what you're doing is it's almost like the way Jim Schwartz is running his defensive line right now. They're managing their legs, their bodies. Like, they're all going to be healthy the way that they're doing it right now. No guy is going to take a beating. And if they miss a week, there's the next man up. They're going to have a healthy complement of backs when they get to January.
Yeah. Philosophically, this is not the way I would run a team, but I'm not running the Eagles. So, but I am not an advocate for running back by committee.
No, you play with Wilbert Montgomery. You fed Wilbert.
But as I watch the history of the game, the bell cow to me is usually the team that wins the championship. Now, at the end of the day, we'll find out if this works. I don't like a running back by committee. I just don't. That's me. They're proving me wrong right now. This has worked for the Eagles. Albeit a couple fumbles last week.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's the Bears, but if you're playing a good football team, those will come back to haunt you. But they're hitting in all cylinders. And Baldy, you alluded to something I thought was unique as I look at the tape. Most of these, one-back teams, they're not running those whams and counters.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're getting to the second level,
Jeff Stoutland, Frank Reich, they've done a really good job in conceptually designing unique, uncommon running plays.
But it's interesting, though, Jaws, since they lost Jason Peters, who is an elite run blocker and maybe the best in the business, they've changed the way that they're run blocking. You saw the whams, the folds on the backside, getting to that second level. If you don't block the linebackers in this league, you're not going to have any good runs. You're going to get 4 yards, and it's going to get shut down. They're figuring out how to get to the second level. And this Brandon Brooks at right guard, Jaws, and Lane Johnson, that's the best right side in all of football.
Brandon
right
Brooks might be the most underrated offensive lineman.
He's as good as there is.
I haven't seen a bad snap. Now, not a bad game. I don't know if I've seen a bad snap on him all year.
He's the ultimate steady Eddie, man.
Yeah. He got those big butt, big legs, and you watch him. He manhandles people.
He took that defensive tackle from the Bears, Akeem Hicks,
Yeah.
who's 330 pounds, and he's a hell of a football player. And he walked him off the line of scrimmage, play after play.
And Akeem Hicks might be the best defensive player on the Bears.
He is. He's the best defensive lineman.
Yeah. All right, let's look at a couple of quick all the stories in the league, and then we have to make our picks.
Let's do it.
Hey,
as we move forward.
Can I get a bathroom break here?
You want to tee up?
Yeah,
right. Let's call time. Jaws needs to go under the tent. Jaws is under the tent.
You're like that kid on the family vacation. We just got in the car.
What do you guys got under the table here?
Jaws is under the tent. You ready, boys?
Go over to Meatlocker.
Oh, and we're back. Jaws is back from the tent.
I'm healthy.
He's ready to go.
Put me back in the game, Coach.
Get back in here, Jaws.
You just woke everyone up at Riley's Pub.
That's right. That's right.
All my soul players over there, they're still sleeping. They hear They hear all this football stuff from me all the time.
Are they still partying from the championship?
Yeah, of course they are. We're going for a three-peat, Baldy.
All right. I need the shirt. You got the shirt out there, Jaws?
We got rings, we got shirts, we got everything, baby.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. All right, let's get into it. We got a couple things to do before we get to our picks.
Yeah, we got more beer. That's what we got.
That's
here.
good.
Thanks, Savannah. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Savannah. Beer.
I guess we have another long segment coming up.
That's right. I make sure the segments are long so we can have more time to drink. Thank you, Jaws.
What?
The beers are on Jaws. All right.
What time is your show tomorrow?
Baldy knows we don't sleep.
No. We're like vampires,
That's
man.
it, man.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep when I'm dead. That's what Bon Jovi said.
Come on, man.
Oh, here we go.
That's
That's my guy, too, man. That's my guy,
right.
Bon Jovi. And you, John. JBJ.
So let's talk about Kansas City for a second. What happened to the Chiefs? But what happened to them?
So you're talking about the 5-0 start and the 1-5 since.
Yes, and the
I
Bills
went back and watched them this week,
go into
Jaws.
Kansas City and beat them.
You know, me and Jaws love, not necessarily fixing teams, because we can't really fix it. We don't have that authority. But we can look at a team and go, this is what's wrong. So the Chiefs, we fell in love with a lot of the gadgets and a lot of the gimmicks that they were doing with Tyreek
Particularly
Hill.
offensively. Yep.
Offensively,
Yep.
and he was great.
Yep.
You know, but if you can't do the basics, if you can't physically just run the ball, win the line of scrimmage, then a lot of that stuff goes away. And they can't win the line of scrimmage right now. Jaws, against Buffalo last week, they could not move the line of scrimmage. I mean, Buffalo flat out won the line every single play. And Kareem Hunt is running for a yard, -1 yards. And all of a sudden, all those gimmick plays where you saw, Kareem Hunt down the seam or Tyreek Hill on the reverse motion, all that stuff has all gone away.
Just think when Chip Kelly burst onto the scene. Yeah. Monday Night Football, Redskins. Whew, what is going on? Creative, innovative, all those things. About halfway through the season, that kind of stopped. Yeah, they made the playoffs, get knocked out by the Saints. All of a sudden, 2 years later, Chip Kelly's out of a job. The NFL is about adapting and changing, and that's what you have to do. You just can't say, we're going to do this. The NFL, what most people don't understand, and Baldy and I lived our life in this league, the amount of people they have watching you and studying you and breaking you down, every tendency you have, they will tell you by your stance what the play is going to be. They're the 30 for 30. 30 guys that are 30 years old making $30,000. And you know what they did? Just study a single player. And they'll watch Anthony Gargano for 70 snaps a game. And then we get the scouting report and say, hey, when his wide split is this and it's a 1.5 rather than a foot, watch the counter. Hey, when Tyreek Hill runs in the backfield, hey, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get split zone. They have this gimmicks, and Baldy's dead on. Gimmicks and gadgets are important, but they can't be your foundation. No. And they were successful early because a lot of those things worked. All of a sudden, they stopped working because teams defended them, and they can't move people off the line. And at the end of the day, football ends up being blocking and tackling. Mm-hmm. And maybe the best tackling team in football, the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah. Maybe the worst tackling team, the New York Giants. Yeah. There's your difference right there. The Eagles win in the trenches, and they tackle.
They do. It's every position in Philadelphia. The corners, they're all great tackles. Drayden Mills, doesn't matter.
You know, look what Dallas did a few weeks ago with the Eagles. They kept throwing those bubble screens out there and hots and hitches. And,
they tackle the catch.
Yeah, they tackle it. 2-yard gain. Get Des one-on-one. He's going to take it to the house. 2-yard gain.
I don't think until Kansas City can fix this issue of moving the line of scrimmage, they are not going to be out of this.
So Alex Smith has struggled mightily now. Yeah. Now all of a sudden the talk is quarterback change in Kansas City.
You're not making that change. That'd be stupid at this point. At this point, I still think the Chiefs can turn their season around. But here's the difference, and I call it situational football. When you're running the football and you got 2nd and 5, hey, I played the position for 17 years. I have a pretty good understanding of how to play it and how it should be played. Right, wrong, or different, how you feel. 2nd and 8 is a huge difference than 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 4. It's amazing.
Sure.
If you have stats and look at the difference of conversions, on 2nd and 8 and 2nd and 5, it's huge. If you're a quarterback and you're looking at 2nd and 8, like the Chiefs are looking at now, rather than 2nd and 5, all of a sudden you're looking at nickel, you're looking at dime, you're looking at hybrid looks, you're looking at corner blitzes, you're looking at everything, you're looking at disaster down. Now all of a sudden, when you're on a normal down and distance situation, you could hand it off. You get 3 yards, 3rd and 2, easy. The playbook is open to you. So the fact that they are ineffective on 1st down is killing them, and it's putting Alex Smith in the known passing situation.
Until they can get, like Kareem Hunt right now is on this downward trajectory, and it's not him. There's just no place to go. And so until they get that fixed, I mean, they can, the fans are going to clamor for Patrick Mahomes and all that. And he won't do that. No. And he won't do that. He knows that's not the answer.
All right. One last bit we need to discuss. And, look, we love the league. We enjoy it. It's everything.
It's our life.
There is an inordinate amount of bottom dwellers this year.
There is.
And I got to ask you guys a question as to why. So, Jets, Miami, Cincinnati,
San Francisco,
Cleveland, and Houston,
Tampa,
Indianapolis, Denver, Oakland. I mean, the Giants, the Bears, the Packers.
There's 20 teams.
It's Arizona.
There's 20 teams.
I mean, these teams are wretched.
That's scary what you just said. That's scary. You said 20 out of 32 teams.
Well, I'm just throwing the number out there, Jaws. I'm without going through it. But if you look at, I can, and Jaws will do the same thing. But you can turn on any game right now in the NFL, and in 5 plays, I can tell you, take the insignia off the helmet, take the jersey off. I can watch your offensive line, and I can tell you if you're one of those bottom feeders. Because that's where it's going to start. These teams, they don't know how to build an offensive line right now.
Yep.
They don't know how to have any depth. And so, I mean, to the Eagles' credit, they lose Jason Peters. They haven't fallen apart. Dallas loses Tyron Smith. They completely fell apart. I know Ezekiel Elliott's a hell of a player. They lost their left tackle. They fell apart. One guy, they fell apart. Yeah. They couldn't protect the quarterback. The quarterback lost all trust. He didn't want to hold the ball. He looked like he was defeated.
Yes. And it's amazing how, all of a sudden, a house of cards. It's like all these teams are built on a house of cards. I get Green Bay. Totally get Green Bay.
That's different.
Right.
Yeah. But that is a bizarre offense.
But it's still, everything is built on a house of cards.
Yeah.
It's that fragile.
We all understand, number one, it's a quarterback-driven game. And you lose Aaron Rodgers, you're done. You're going to lose. You're going to lose one of your top quarterbacks. You're done. And although the Vikings have hung in there without Deshaun Watson, that Monday night game was pathetic. Yeah. It was pathetic. Yeah. And you say, if you watch Monday Night Football, that's what's wrong with the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why there's 20 bottom feeders. You want to say there's 12 teams will qualify for the playoffs, and probably it's crystal clear those are the 12 teams that should be in the playoffs. Now the question is, what do you do? You know, what do those other 20 teams do right now? What do they learn from the past season? What do they learn about the evolution of the NFL? What's the most important thing you need? Is it a quarterback? Is it offensive lineman? Is it defensive lineman? Is it a pass rusher? These are the things people always talked about in the past. After quarterback, it was you need a pass rusher.
Yeah.
Bill Pulley, you got to get a pass rusher. Close out a game.
Yeah.
You know, everyone. The game has changed. I mean, Bald, you know, you sit at NFL films. I sit there and I watch all that tape. The game is totally different than it was 5 years ago. It's totally different. I mean, there's no base offense anymore. The fullback position is not a script except in Baltimore and San Francisco where they actually have a fullback on the roster.
They have 2 of them.
Yeah, you know. So teams right now, you got to be able to spread the field and offensively, and you got to be effective doing it. And Carson Wentz is a real good example of the future NFL quarterback, what he's got to do. And then you got on defense, you've got to be 6 deep. So you have to have 6 starting third-level players.
Yeah,
not
right.
4 normal old NFL days.
Right.
You need safeties, you need corners, you need a fine slot corner that could cover that slot receiver, or Tom Brady will shred your butt. You know, if you got no one that can cover that guy. So as you're building your football team, and that's the first word Baldy said when we started the show, where you got to build your team. What's your plan?
Yeah.
You know, you just can't throw darts up
there's just no architects out there, cuz. And these teams are like you look at every one of these teams, and you can just see how poorly constructed they are. And you can't coach your way around it.
And they're damn good coaches in this league, by the way.
By the way, Charles, I saw a play the other day of New England. New England runs plays that nobody else runs. So Brandon Cooks is having this phenomenal season. I mean, he's a toy that they've never had.
Yeah, speed.
And they're getting Philip Dorsett going.
But they have many toys.
But listen to this.
Burkhead.
But think about this. What happens when a receiver puts his hand up? What usually happens, Charles?
Yeah, you catch a pass interference or he's wide open.
He's telling but it's the signal to the quarterback that I'm open.
Yeah.
But it's also
we call it the Randy Moss signal.
It's the Randy
every
Moss
play
signal.
you got it.
Okay. So, Charles, you play with guys that threw their hand up, I'm open. I don't know if Harold did that or Quick did that. I don't think they probably
No,
did.
I had guys that threw their hand up every play.
So the Patriots used Amendola down the seam. And at 15 yards, he threw his hand up. And the Miami Dolphins corner and safety ran after him. And Brandon Cooks ran a dig underneath him.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. He was the ultimate decoy.
That's Belichick.
Yeah.
It was so unbelievable. Josh, I'm watching this going. I could just see Josh McDaniels and Belichick going, what if you throw your hand up down the seam? Let's see what happens. So they do it in practice, and there goes Devin McCourty, or Patrick Chung, and they're running with them.
Yeah.
And then here comes Brandon Cooks underneath into this big void, and he's wide open.
It's a dog to a bone. You're going to go right there. It's
I saw the play, and I go,
that's genius. That's absolutely genius. All right, time now for the Fearless Selections.
Oh, yeah.
They are back.
I got an excuse this week, though, because I was really busy today. And
you're making deals, Josh.
No, I actually went to the luncheon for the Army-Navy game.
Oh.
And the Army-Navy game is next Saturday in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And by the way, we love pro football. We love football at every level. We're the Meatlocker. This is what we do. I will tell people, on your bucket list, put the Army-Navy game on your bucket list. There is nothing like it.
My dad played for the Naval. My dad played for the Naval Academy. And then he coached with Bill Belichick's dad, Steve Belichick, for 2 years. He coached the plebe team. I grew up going to the Army-Navy game.
My hair's standing up. My hair's standing up right now.
Jaws, the long gray line. It's going to be, it's just like, me too. That was, my first autograph as a kid was Roger Staubach. That was, I grew up with that.
Yeah, I'm at this luncheon with the midshipmen and cadets.
It's going to be a good game this year, Josh, because both teams are good.
Teams, yeah.
For the first time in a long time, both Army and Navy are good.
In fact, your Army's got the better record, which is,
it's been a while.
But, man, you see these young men, to me, it's really simple.
Josh, you were talking about Kansas City. Bob Sutton was a longtime coach at Army. Won the Coach of the Year. He was 10-2 one year. And a year, they played the next year, had a bad year, then they fired him. He's still upset. If he could coach anywhere and go back and coach, he'd go back to West Point.
Yeah,
go back to West Point.
It's a special. That game is special. The players, coaches, everyone involved in the game. It's special. Didn't mean to get off track.
I'm glad you did because it's a great
mentioning
thing.
that gig.
It is. It's a great game. All right, let's do time now for the Fearless Selections. We start off with the Thursday night game, and it is the battle of the NFC East, which we thought was going to be a great division, and it is not.
It is the NFC least. I thought this was the best division in football coming into the season. It might be the worst.
Right, because
Probably
you have
is.
the Eagles,
Yep.
and then you have the everything else, the destruction in Dallas, the Eli gate in New York, and, of course, all the injuries in Washington just beset by injuries.
This Dallas team, though, Jaws, okay, so Ezekiel is suspended, and he plays suspension. You know, they lose Tyron Smith for a couple games. They've scored 22 points in 3 games. They've scored 22 points in 3 games. I mean, you can't do that.
Dak Prescott hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in how long?
Oh, well,
I know those 3 games.
Yeah. But, Jaws, like, you talk about a team that just collapsed.
Crumbled.
Collapsed.
Yeah.
They play hard defensively. They still play hard. Then, they kind of get worn down and they give up big plays in the second half. But you look at this Dallas team, you go, can they get out of this spiral right now?
No, they can't. They can't. So I like Washington, 27-24.
All right. I like Washington.
I give you the score, Anthony.
All right, 27-24.
I don't know if Trent Williams is playing.
The line is Dallas is favored by 1.5.
Yeah.
The problem with the Skins are they're just completely lost.
They have
Chris
no offensive
Thompson,
line.
No offensive line, and no skill guys.
I mean, they ought to give Cousins a contract just because he survived.
Right.
It's like crazy, man.
And he's played well, by the way.
I like Washington.
Right.
I like Washington to win the game.
I do too.
I agree. The only thing I don't know is how they do it.
These 2 teams.
Who plays?
The good thing about
Is Riggins coming back?
the only good thing about this game.
Joey T will
Really?
pull him out.
The only good thing about this game is both teams played on Thanksgiving, so they've had a full week.
Yeah.
As opposed to a really short week.
This Dallas team is.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it's
Bad
great.
game.
They are just hideous. All right, we all take Washington. Now let's go to Sunday, the early games. A good one. At Baltimore, the Ravens are a 3-point favorite over the Lions. I like Detroit in this game, guys. Let's start off with Baldy. Well, who do you like?
The Ravens, Jaws, are we love Harbaugh. We love Joe Flacco. I mean, personal friend. We know him a long time. They're a hard team to watch. God, are they hard to watch, Jaws?
You're being kind, man.
Oh, my God.
Right.
I mean, they had to run a fake punt, go for it on 4th down. They needed a Terrell Suggs sack fumble to beat a Tom Savage-led Houston team at home.
Yeah.
I like Detroit. I like, look, Matt Stafford. I mean, if he didn't roll that ankle on Thanksgiving, they'd probably come back and win that game.
Baldy, I can imagine John Harbaugh before the game or Saturday night, the big speech you give, coaches get up there. And I probably never heard this in the 44 years I've been around the NFL. Got his notes up there.
Yeah.
How these coaches are. They got all, by the way, it's laminated. It's printed real nice. And we're going to win this game on special teams. We got Justin Tucker and Sam Cook.
Yeah. Who knew?
Hey, I mean, because our defense is good. They're good. They're not people talking about being dominant.
I think elite quarterbacks can carve them up, Charles.
Yeah, I agree with you. Their offense is pathetic. They got receivers that can't run routes. They can't get out of breaks. Joe's just in a funk right now. He's getting beat up. He hasn't been healthy.
Yep.
Offensive line. I mean,
But I go back to the weapons, though. You got to have guys to throw to.
Wait, you got Mike Wallace. He was a pretty good player at one time. Perriman, I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah,
he can't get out of a break. They throw a back shoulder, and he's like, you thought he was on ice.
Macklin.
Macklin is old and done.
Can you get him a tight end?
No, they're just.
I mean, when's the last time he had a tight end?
Well, Heap. Todd Heap.
Yeah, Todd Heap.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, and you're going to blame Flacco because of this?
That Monday night game was just awful. But you know what? I'm betting on my boy Joe.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go.
All right.
I'm going to go 21-17. I mean, Baltimore. They know how to win ugly, man.
All
They
right.
perfected it.
All right, so Jaws has the Ravens.
Goff, you got this down? Because.
All right.
Oh.
No, but if you think about this, if you think about the schedule, the NBA and how important the schedule is. Detroit plays on Thanksgiving. They get 10 days to get ready. Baltimore plays Monday night.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a 4-day difference to get ready for a game. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'll bet Howard Katz, who does the scheduling in the NFL, got some calls this week.
Oh, I bet Harbaugh. Harbaugh came out.
Oh, yeah.
Probably said, I'm taking Detroit.
All right,
Hey,
so
Jason.
Baldy and I are both going Detroit, Jason. Jaws goes.
Jason, what was my record
Baltimore.
last week against the spread? 10-5-1. Would you repeat that, please? Okay, thank you very much.
10-5-1, or are you being dyslexic? Was it 5-10-1, Jaws? All right.
Baldy and I were
week.
14-2 last week, as documented on the show, on the radio show.
Yes.
Baldy and I.
It's unbelievable.
Nice
I mean,
job,
it was
Baldy.
unreal, Jaws.
Against the spread?
14-2, both of us.
Jaws,
Well,
look.
where can I need to, Jason, we need to tape
You
that.
check. How about it, bro?
Check
How about
the
it,
tape.
bro?
14-2. You're gonna be in Vegas, man.
This
man.
next game. Tell me, Jaws, if you were announcing.
Let me lay it out for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
As the host,
Sorry,
I'll lay
Coach.
it out for you, cuz. We go to Chicago, where the Chicago Bears are a 3-point favorite over the Niners. You saw them up close last week. You saw how bad the Bears are, and they are a favorite against the Niners.
Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get the start.
That's correct. That is the story.
Well, he threw a touchdown pass in. He played 5 plays. He threw a touchdown pass in one of his 5 plays, and you just see this poise that he has. Look, I mean, San Francisco, they invested a lot in Jimmy Garoppolo to be the future quarterback for him right now. You watch them defensively; they play really hard, really hard. I like San Francisco to win this game.
I do too. Hey,
Jones?
Trubisky showed
What's your
me
score?
nothing last week.
Nothing.
Nothing. San Francisco will cover. I got them at 21-14.
An outright win.
Outright.
Outright win.
Jimmy Garoppolo, 1-0 is the San Francisco
Love
49ers
it, that.
quarterback.
All right, all three of us go with the Niners.
They've got pieces in San Francisco.
I want. You're going to tip this next game, but I want Baldy to go first. All right.
No, you got it. Because this is a terrific game. There's a couple A-listers this weekend, and one of them is in Atlanta. Now, remember, the Falcons had the same record as they did last year.
7-4.
Right? The same record. And now they are a 3-point favorite over the one-loss Vikings. Baldy, are the Falcons back?
They get the running back, Devontae Freeman, back
Yeah.
this week. He makes a big difference. He's an unbelievable player and competitor. I think if Atlanta in the NFC South now, they're sort of the third team right there. But there's something about Dan Quinn, and I like him a lot. There's something about this team, though, that just hasn't been right. It
The
just hasn't.
Sarkisian factor.
Could be. I mean, it's not easy to replace Kyle Shanahan and the motions and, the formations and all the personnel groupings he did. I like this Minnesota team a lot. I just do. I like their defense a great deal. I like Xavier Rhodes on Julio Jones this week. I like the way defenses travel. They've had 10 days to get ready. I'm taking the Vikings.
Wow.
I'm taking the Vikings.
Wow.
That's why I wanted him to
Vikings.
go first, because I wanted to get some energy out of you, Anthony.
Look at that. Outright.
I see the Falcons. This new stadium, there is no. You would think indoors, dome stadium, Mercedes-Benz, like there was going to be some wow factor about it. I've been in that building, Jaws. There's no juice in that building.
Amazing.
Well, that happens in a lot of these new stadiums. They're so antiseptic and, crystal glasses and, they literally knocked fans out of the stadiums. I mean, the average guy that
you
loves
wonder why Rome is burning.
well, hey, there's a lot of reasons. That's one of them. The average fan can't afford to go to a game. That's why seats are empty. 30,000 or whatever the number was.
All your
watching
crystal
Monday.
glasses mean nothing, and that's
the NFL is forgetting about the people that built the league.
Yep.
Not only the players, coaches, but the fans that support it. And they better get it back. But I'm going to take Atlanta. My guy, Matty Ice, I think he's finding his stroke right now.
Okay.
I think his rhythm is there. With Freeman coming back, and now, they got the two-headed monster in the backfield. I just think they're the team at home. I like them 27-17.
Yeah, I like the Falcons, too. I think the Falcons are going to get hot at the right time.
Okay, we'll see.
Now, we'll see. And here's the thing that I'm questioning is the Falcons' defense. And this is what I want to see. Because if you're right and the Vikings win, it'll have meant that they dominated, they controlled the football and kept Matty Ice off the field.
We'll talk about this next week. If Minnesota wins this game, they're the team that's going to go to the Super Bowl. I know I'm going to anger a lot of people in Philadelphia.
Wow.
If Minnesota can go – hey, settle down back there.
Jaws, they're listening.
I love a live crowd, man. They're paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
just fell off their chair, Jaws.
because they know I'm a staunch Eagles supporter. But I'm objective when I look at teams. I think if Atlanta can beat Minnesota, they're the team. They're going to be the best team in the league.
I just got shivers. All right, another great game, and a guy that we love, who it's amazing. They have tried to not compete this year, except they are in it. The Buffalo Bills, Peterman aside, the Buffalo Bills are in the thick of the playoffs in the AFC. They go into Kansas City, and pupil beats teacher. McDermott over Reed, and now they get, the Patriots.
And I'm going to be up at Buffalo for this game this week.
Oh, you're going?
And
give me the weather forecast first.
I don't, Jaws. I mean, we're in this like Indian summer, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe there's going to be some snow. Brady. He's the best bad weather quarterback I've ever seen. I've seen him in 40 below zero weather. It makes no difference to that guy. He's unbelievable. And the offense of New England's right now, I don't know how anybody stops it, Jaws. I mean, I just don't. They're so. The motions and shifts alone. If you were an intern and your job was to just take off the tape,
those 30 guys, yeah.
if your job that week was just to take the formations and the motions of the shifts of what the Patriots are doing, you wouldn't have enough time in a week to do it. I don't know how they do it, Charles. I don't know how they have that much offense in.
Well, you know why.
Well, I mean,
you know why? You got Tom Brady.
I understand, Joe. But still, Philip Dorsett has to learn this.
Yeah.
And Brandon Cooks has to learn this. And Rex, Rex has to learn. I mean, all these guys are learning it, and it's unbelievable. This offense right now, I think it's better than it was last year when they won a Super Bowl. Ooh. There's no Chris Hogan right now, but this speed of what they're doing with Dorsett right now and Cooks.
Yep.
I like New England to cover right here this week.
I like New England, but not to cover. 27-21. They'll be rabid up there in Buffalo, man. Baldy's going to be there. He'll be down, he'll be down
45 degrees.
45? Oh, man, that's a heat wave.
Yeah.
Baldy be down there on Chippewa Avenue, man. He'll be down there Saturday night.
I'm saying right downtown, Jones. Yeah.
He'll be at the Hyatt right there.
I'm at the Hyatt. I'm at the Hyatt right there.
I know the hot spots in Buffalo. It's my hometown, man.
I'll be eating some Buffalo wings there.
Awesome. You know where to go.
Yeah.
All right, so
Anchor Bar.
Baldy, you have the Patriots. Jaws, you have the Buffalo Bills to cover while the Patriots win. I'm not going to get in front of the Brady train. I'll take New England minus the 8.5. Well, I would love to see somehow the Bills pull it out. I just don't know.
Our boy Sean McDermott, man.
Yeah.
We love Sean. He's a Meatlocker guy.
I heard from Sean, and I talked to him Sunday after the game, and he was thrilled. I mean, I felt so good. You know when a guy's a really good guy.
Yeah.
And look, we know what happened to the Eagles thing, and he takes over after Jim Johnson. It all just wasn't right. And he went in and won over Andy, and it was kind of sweet for him.
It was kind of funny. I saw David Culley on the sideline, who coached here in Philadelphia.
He's the quarterback coach.
Was in Kansas City, now quarterback coach. And, hey, we're here at Valley Brook, and I think David in the offseason played here every day. He loves golf.
Is that right?
Yeah, he was here all the time. So I get my information. You're on the guys.
Sure.
But I saw that big old smile on his face. When you beat your mentor, there's some meaning to that.
3 weeks ago, the Saints went to Buffalo, and they gave up 300 yards rushing. Well, that didn't sit well with Sean McDermott. Ooh. He made a lot of changes. Ced Thornton started at defensive tackle last week. Dolphins, Washington out. They made a lot of changes. And that front played really well against Kansas City.
All right, another dumpster fire. That is Denver. The Broncos. My Lord, Lynch gets his first start, and he's on the sidelines with an ankle, and he's horrible. And they play at Miami, which is dumpster fire, the original dumpster. It's an OD. It's an original dumpster fire. The Broncos are a 1.5-point favorite, Baldy, over the Dolphins. Hold your nose and make a pick.
Oh my gosh, you're exactly right. I want to hold my nose. Miami still has talent. They still have talent. It never plays well together. They just don't play well together. I mean, the breakdowns against the Patriots last week are just hard to figure out. How they leave Rob Gronkowski wide open down the middle of the field,
open,
where nobody even looks at him. He runs right by every player of the. It's just something's just not clicking there at all. But Denver, I mean, John Elway said that this team is soft. And then he had to sort of backtrack a little bit and say we're all soft. But They're playing like they're soft.
No, he expressed his true feeling.
Yeah, he did. The first time.
Yeah. The first time. He backtracked. I agree.
But he was right, though.
Yeah, he was right. I mean, this is a team that defensively we thought would be one of the best in the NFL.
They're paying those guys to be superstars. They're paying them to be superstars.
Yeah.
Von Miller, Aqib Talib. They're paying these guys to be superstars.
These are two bad football teams who we all thought would be good football teams. Here we are, 11 games in the season. Both playoff teams. Both we thought would be playoff contenders and Super Bowl contenders.
Let me do what Anthony asked me to do. I'm going to hold my nose and take Denver.
There you go. Jaws?
I'm going with Denver.
Let's make it unanimous.
I'm going to go 21-16 Denver.
There you go. It's the appropriate score. That is a hold your nose.
I like that.
We all go with Denver. Take that coffee. All right. Now we go to Tennessee, where the Titans, after a win in Indianapolis on the road, take on the Texans. The Titans, a 7-point favorite against Houston. Baldy.
Yeah, they've got to make a change at running back for Tennessee. I mean, DeMarco Murray looks like he did here in Philadelphia.
Derrick Henry? My God.
Well, they keep running him laterally again.
Yes.
It looks like the same.
He's got no explosion, Jaws. No explosion.
Derrick Henry can at least turn the corner when they do give it on the edge.
It's so apparent to me. I mean, I don't know how, and everybody in Tennessee feels the same way. But I like Tennessee, though. Marcus Mariota, look, that guy, he throws a timing route last week. His receiver falls down. He takes the interception. He's just one of these guys that he goes and then makes the tackle on the play. Stuff happens. That guy doesn't complain. He's an unbelievable leader. And he's not an elite quarterback, but he's not a bad guy to have under center, man. I like Tennessee to win this game.
I like Tennessee big. Houston right now they're in a downward spiral right now. They're not winning with Tom Savage. No. It's just not going to happen. Tennessee 30, Houston 17.
All right, we'll all take Tennessee. I like Tennessee a lot in this game. Another one. This is pretty interesting because if only from a team that we like, and it's Jacksonville. It's a team that we've been on since Doug Marrone was here on the Meatlocker, and Blake Bortles showed some moxie last week.
Yeah,
showed a little moxie.
Yeah, but Doug didn't manage that game well down the stretch.
He did.
Come on. I mean, Doug blew that game, and he knows it.
I agree.
He's got to live with that. I mean, the coach has to make certain decisions. He doesn't call plays. He delegates. His job is to manage the game. Look at the clock. What do we got to do? I mean, you got to make he made a bad decision. He said he wanted to stay aggressive. There's no reason to be aggressive.
No.
The clock is the enemy.
So did Kyle Shanahan in the Super Bowl last year. There's a time to be aggressive.
Right.
There's a time to manage the game.
You got to be They lost that game, and you just wonder, they've got a lot of pieces in place in Jacksonville. A lot. Defensively, they've got talent everywhere. They can win games for you. Right? That defensive front is, boy, I mean, they're really Calais and Ngakoue. I mean, they're really good. They're going to win this game. They'll bounce back. They'll win this game. They'll take the air out of the ball. Indianapolis played really hard against Tennessee last week, but I like Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think Indianapolis playing really hard. They just lack talent. At the end of the day, I think Jacksonville at home with that defense, I think they blow out Indianapolis 35-21.
Agreed. We all are on Jacksonville.
We got a bunch of hold your nose games, don't we?
This is one where you could smell the fish off the bay.
The Battle of the Bays.
There it is. Tampa at Green Bay. My Lord.
Jaws, you did Monday Night Football for a long time. Sell me this game. You're up in the booth with John Gruden. Sell me this game.
Wait, I actually did the Pittsburgh Steelers, Miami Dolphins 3-0 game.
Oh, my God.
It was 3-0. 3-0 on a field goal as time expired.
3-0 in the first quarter, Jaws?
At the end of the game, the Steelers kicked a field goal as time expired. Yeah. That was arguably the worst Monday Night Football game in history, and I called it.
That is incredible.
It was actually Tony Kornheiser, Mike Tirico, and I.
Okay.
Wow.
They played a high school game the few days before, the great
I remember this.
Heinz Field, and it rained.
Yeah.
It was a punt was punted. They let it hit, and it went. It just stuck in the ground. Yeah. The final score: 3-0 Pittsburgh. So I've called some clunkers. Too. I'm sure Baldy's had a few.
I've had some clunkers too. But, this Tampa just put their starting right side of the line on IR. Ali Marpet, DeMar Dotson, done for the year. Like, everything that could go wrong went wrong for this team. And they just haven't been competitive at all year.
Now, listen, Green Bay played Pittsburgh tough.
They played really tough. You kidding me? Brett Hundley played well.
Hundley made plays.
They played
that's
out.
it took right?
unbelievable throws by Ben to Antonio Brown to win that game. As good as Antonio Brown is, and he's the best, he had to make 2 plays that are literally at the top of his highlight reel to win that game. It says, it said a lot about Green Bay and their offense and what Brett Hundley did, and so I'll take Green Bay. Like, I think they'll feed off what happened on Sunday.
I got Green Bay 20-17, so they will cover.
Yeah,
but I'll take Green Bay. The Packers win outright at home. Jaws, what's the score?
I got Green Bay 20, Tampa 17.
All right. Wow, we are all on the same page
so far. It's going to change right now.
Really? Mm-hmm. Because somebody is smelling the Jets.
I'm smelling Robbie Anderson, man.
So am I.
You watched Robbie last week.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah. He looked like a big-time. He looked like a building block.
But you saw him from Temple.
To you, baby.
So I'll never forget, we're doing a show, and Baldy, this boy's got a keen eye. And he says, listen, I like their Eagles draft, but why not take a flyer with Robbie Anderson in the 7th round? You have 3 7th-round picks. One of them's got to be Robbie Anderson. You needed wide-out help, and Robbie Anderson's going to be a player.
Just a guy that can just flat-out
fly. And
you
said he was going to be a player, Baldy.
But now, he's catching back shoulder throws.
Applause for Baldy, man. That's a good call.
Witness.
Yeah. No, but the local guy. Come on, Eagles.
Local and flat-out can run.
Yeah.
Well, Matt Rule also said that. Yeah.
But this Jets team, though, they're gritty, man. They're just gritty. They could have won a game last week, but, you look at their offensive line is not bad. Wesley Johnson's a good player. The interior, the offensive line's not bad. They can run the ball. I think Josh McCown's having his best season as a quarterback. And, he's played in this league for 15 years. I think it's his best year he's ever had. He's playing – I know he had a good year in Chicago, but he's playing good. And the Jets are a lot better than what anybody thought they were going to be. People thought the Jets were going to be Cleveland and what San Francisco is, and they're not. They're
competing for the first-round pick in the draft.
No, I like the Jets to win the game. I don't like anything that Kansas City's doing right now.
I like everything about the Jets, what Todd Bowles is doing, their competitive spirit. But at the end of the day, I think the team with the more talent wins. And if you look over this roster, it's Kansas City. They haven't played up to that talent. Yeah. They've gotten pushed around. I think there comes a time where your manhood gets tested. Baldy, you've been in those locker rooms where you're pretty damn good, but you're not winning. And someone finally gets up there at the team meeting on Thursday, Friday, and says, hey, we're tired of this crap. Hey, let's make a run here. And I think the Chiefs are that team. They've got a good coaching staff. They're a good football team. I think with a potential to be a great football team. They need to find their way. And I believe they will in this game. I like Kansas City 24-16.
All right.
There's one side element to this game. It's interesting to me because I'm a big fan of this player. But Darrelle Revis is now a Chief. And his first game, he's going to be active this week, is going to be against the Jets. Darrelle Revis, Kansas City, going back to the Jets.
Yeah, it's great.
It's going to be interesting to watch. But I like the Jets to win this game.
Wow.
I like the Jets as well.
Yeah, well, you're wrong. Jason, put a star by that, all right?
I don't trust Alex Smith. I don't trust their running game. I smell the Jets all the way. Mm-hmm. I smell what Baldy's cooking.
That's it.
All right.
Put the star by that one, bro.
All right, we got an elite game coming up.
This could separate the week between the three of us. The 4 o'clock games begin 4:25 at New Orleans. It is the Saints and Carolina. I love the Saints in this game. I love New Orleans to thrash Carolina by double digits.
Wow. Well, New Orleans played last week without New Orleans played last week without their 2 starting corners. All right, there's no Marshawn Lattimore, no Ken Crawley.
And it was obvious.
Yeah. Like they had their backups in there, and it was not good for New Orleans against the Rams last week. They got players in Los Angeles last week. Josh Reynolds never played in his life catching touchdown passes against this defense. But I do like New Orleans this week. I think the guys come back, they start and they play. I like the Saints. you know, for anybody that has not seen, you know, their rookie running back right now, he is something special, man. Really something special.
Kamara.
Yeah, Kamara.
It's not fantasy.
It's all that matters.
I like the Saints.
I like the Saints. I like them to cover, and I just have a heart. I like this Carolina team. I can't buy them.
I don't trust them.
Good word. Can't trust him. I mean, Cam Newton can make
plays. I
don't
buy
He is
him.
wildly inaccurate.
Yes.
He'll make plays that just, you know, you go, wow, and then he'll make plays you go, high school quarterbacks hit that play. And it drives me crazy. At this point in his career, trust is a good word. You can't trust Cam Newton. You know, he'll probably throw for 404 touchdowns, but I don't think he will. I like New Orleans 31-23.
All right, we all back Breeze over Newton in this one. Chargers,
Whoa.
Cleveland. Chargers, Cleveland?
Yeah.
Wow, you're excited over this game, Jones. Go ahead.
I looked at the spread. I was
14. 2 touchdowns, 14
Jason,
over the
14?
Browns.
Yeah, it's 14.
Ooh. Why? Why?
Who you got?
Oh, I think the Chargers will blow them out.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go 35-17.
Love it.
Chargers are on a freaking roll. Phillip Rivers is on fire. This is a good football. This team is coming to life right now. What are they, 5-2 over the last 7? I mean, they're coming to life.
5-6 right now is the record.
Yeah.
The the Cleveland Browns have won one game under Hugh Jackson. It was against the Chargers last year. They beat the Chargers in Cleveland last year. I think Phillip Rivers probably remembers that. I think he's one of those guys that, you know, he's always fired up to begin with. And so he's like, this team is not going to do this to us, not when we're in a playoff push. And they're in a playoff push. They could win the AFC West right now.
You know, if Phillip Rivers was here, he would bet us and compete that he could drink more beer than we can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of competitor.
No, he is unbelievable.
He would bet he would drink more than me,
Jones, are you taking him to cover the 14?
Oh, yeah, I got him below 35-17.
Yeah, I got him to cover, too.
Yeah.
All right, all of us are on the Chargers. These games, these mismatches just continue. The Rams in Arizona, another 4:25 start. I like the Rams. Again, this Arizona team, I don't like.
Jones, you can't sell me Blaine Gabbert. You can't do it to me. Like
I'm not trying to.
Don't do it to me.
Hey,
I'm not trying to sell you Blaine Gabbert.
Hey, I'm not. Hey.
I mean, you know, Bruce Arians will sell anybody to you. Yeah. You know, but you can't sell me Blaine Gabbert.
Here's about Blaine Gabbert. I thought he came out too early, number one.
Yep.
Had physical talent, needed to grow up. You know, needed to mature as a person and as a quarterback.
Okay.
You know, I've been to when he was in Jacksonville, been to their practice. I mean, you go out there and practice on like Thursday and Friday.
Like romper room.
I'm going, oh my God, this guy can rip it. Looked really good. All of a sudden, you know, that time doing Monday Night Football, not the same guy I saw on Friday at practice. Yeah. I mean, like, just not the same guy. Like, everything fell apart. He had the talent.
Okay.
Probably still has the talent. But for whatever reason, game day, the synapses just aren't connecting with Blaine Gabbert. I agree with you, Baldy. I can't trust him either to take Anthony's word.
All right. We all take the Rams over Arizona.
Yeah, we'll cover.
We have we have agreed on just about every game. Another one we'll probably all agree on.
Yeah.
At Oakland, another mismatch. Geno Smith goes into Oakland against the Raiders. The Raiders are an 8.5-point favorite. My Lord. How do you back the Giants in this game?
No way.
There's impossible.
If you're in
our cameramen are cracking up. What the hell's going on here?
The Giant fans in Oakland this weekend are going to have bags in their heads. Like, that's how they're coming to the game. There'll be some Giant fans out there. Huh? I think there'll be some Giant fans at the game, Jaws.
All right.
You know, New York transplants out there on the West Coast.
Like why would they go to Oakland?
Really?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying they're traveling. I'm just saying Giant fans that are there. But I think I don't like anything about the Giants here with Geno this week.
You can't.
But
you were trying
to come up with a reason.
I was trying to. But I don't like anything about the Raiders either.
The Raiders stink.
They changed their defensive coordinator.
Derek Carr, Geno Smith. All right, 31-14 Raiders.
Baldy?
Well, there's going to be no Crabtree. So Amari Cooper has dropped more passes than anybody. I mean, can you trust anything about this Oakland Raider team?
No, I can't. But again,
I'll take the Giants to cover. The Giants to cover.
Ooh,
right, so
okay,
Raiders win 6-3.
Not many touchdowns.
All right. I'll take the Raiders and lay it. The Monday night game, we're skipping over to Sunday. I want to save that for last. The Monday night game is at Cincinnati. It's the Steelers against the Bengals. The Steelers are a 5.5-point choice in Cincinnati against the Red Rocket.
Who's going to be the first player suspended in this game? Who's the first player going to get ejected?
Vontaze perfect.
Vontaze gets ejected?
No, he won't.
I think he'll be on his best behavior. Pac-Man. I mean, somebody's going to get ejected from this game. Could be a coach. Who knows?
Do you remember that game, though?
Yes.
They haven't won.
Yes.
But no, the whole point is.
Yeah, the playoff game.
Like, it's
fumble.
won. It's won. The game's
Jeremy
over.
Hill.
Just fall
Jeremy
down.
It's over.
Why are you fighting for a yard? You know, it's over.
Yeah, Jeremy Hill. That was their one chance to win a playoff
That was
game.
it.
That was it.
Yep.
That was Marvin. Does he come back?
No.
This Pittsburgh Steelers team is getting hot. They're getting hot, Jaws. I mean, they're right now. Ben's playing better. Antonio Brown can do whatever he wants in his business right now. Whatever he wants to do. Like, you can't feed him enough. It's unbelievable, the display that he put on last week. It's incredible. I like Pittsburgh. You know, I like them a lot. I think they cover this. I know it's in Cincinnati. It's a battle game, and they played tough games. I think Pittsburgh right now is. Yeah, I just think they're close to being an elite team.
Outright. Cincinnati Bengals. This is my upset of the week. This is the Bengals season right here. Sitting there at 5-6. They've been humbled, humiliated. They've hung in there to this point. They're going to say this is our last. This is our Super Bowl. Monday Night Football. You're going to get their best shot. They probably don't have equitable talent to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but there's one of those games. I think Cincinnati finds a way to win.
I hate their offensive tackles. They can't run the ball at all.
No,
they haven't.
No,
I think Joe Mixon's a good player.
Joe Mixon's a really good player.
But he hasn't had a good game yet.
And I'd like to see him used a little bit differently. I think the guy can catch football.
When
I evaluated that guy coming out of college, I'm going.
I
don't know why Bill Lazor doesn't use him more in those situations.
I agree with you.
Split him out wide. I've seen him beat guys just running pass routes. So, but maybe this is the week he does it. Maybe he does it. But I'm gonna take a little flyer on Cincinnati 24-21.
All right, I'll take the Bengals 2 plus the 5.5. I think the Steelers win by field goal. Now, finally, last game was a great game in the NFC. This is a statement game. It takes place Sunday night in Seattle. The Seahawks really playing for their own lives against the Eagles. Now, this is the first test the Eagles have had in some time. Probably the best quarterback they were going to face in Russell Wilson since Phillip Rivers. Since they played the Chargers. So break it down. Baldy, you have the floor.
I think when I look at Seattle, they are an incomplete team. There is no longer the Legion of Boom. That's over. There's no Cam Chancellor. There's no Richard Sherman. Shaq Griffin got hurt. I mean, they don't have the same pass rush. Marcus Smith, the Eagles, is playing for him. That's how bad they are in the defense.
Come on, it's a first-round pick.
He's your favorite guy, Marcus Smith.
So
you love Marcus Smith. You were all over him draft day.
That was a Chip Kelly pick.
It's hard to make tackles when you live on the ground, and he guy's crawling on the ground every play. The Seattle Seahawks offensive line, I rip them every week. They blow more assignments than any team I watch, and I don't know how Russell Wilson leads his team in rushing by 193 yards right now.
That's almost comical in itself.
It is. Like they have, Eddie Lacy is their starting. Eddie Lacy carried it 17 times last week. He's getting you 2.5 yards a carry. They crushed this team. The Eagles win this game. Forget about the 12th man. The last 3 teams that went up there outplayed Seattle.
Well,
Houston lost in a shootout. Atlanta won. Washington won. Washington beat them up there. The Eagles are a better team.
Question about Dwayne Brown. How's that worked out for him?
He's a good player.
Yeah.
He's better than what they've had.
It's an improvement.
But they just, Jermaine Irfetti, Ethan Pochik, I mean, they just break down way too much.
I said it earlier. If Seattle runs the ball between the tackles, it will be a huge mistake. They will not pee a drop running inside.
They can't handle these guys.
They will get manhandled. Not only defeated, they will get knocked backwards.
They will not
by Tim Jernigan. I'm telling you, they will get.
But people
will
talk about
crushed.
Don't talk about the 12th man and all this.
That's great.
That stuff is like, if you have a good team, it can help. But if you're a poorly constructed team and they've got some elite receivers, Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett, these guys, Paul Richardson, they're a good receiving core. Jimmy Graham, red zone.
They're playmakers.
Good playmakers. Yeah. Guys can go up and get the ball. They adjust to the ball. They catch the ball well. But this is not a good team. This is not this type of Seattle team that you expect it to be. They're not well built.
Baldy, you were talking. A big crowd came in. You must have attracted all the women that were driving by.
I would hope so.
Yeah, of course.
I hope I haven't lost all of it.
Well,
they had to break the show up here.
The beauty blondes have arrived. This is going to be interesting for Carson because last year it was ugly out there for the Eagles. Remember, Nelson Aguilar struggled mightily. So this is a sort of a revenge game, for him. For
Seattle's not the same team. Baldy touched on it. I mean, the dynamic has changed there. Cam Chancellor's gone. I mean, he would bend your face mask. Richard Sherman, they just lock him down. They rotate the coverage. They're not a complicated, sophisticated defense. I mean, they're good, but they're not what they used to be. Legion of Boom, gone. Offensive line, gone.
Horrible.
Seattle's got a chance to win this game because of the quarterback.
Yes.
Plain and
quarterback
simple.
gives you a chance.
Quarterback gives you. Other than that, there's not one redeeming quality of the Seahawks.
It's a good test for Carson to go on the road in a real atmosphere and to be able to handle, all of the silent counts and all that. I mean, it's a good test because, if you have to go on the road in the playoffs in a championship level game, if you have to go to Minnesota, if you have to go to New Orleans, if you would have to go to one of those places, it's a good test for him right now.
All right, there it is. So we all have the Eagles. We're in agreement.
Yes.
Minus
27-24 Eagles.
No, that's not a cover.
Wait, I had -4.
The Eagles are a 6-point favorite.
Yeah, Jaws.
What?
Hey, give Jaws the updated line.
Come on,
man.
This should make me look bad here.
So
people are betting Miller Lights on it. Betting Miller Lights on it.
They're a 6-point favorite.
I got 27-24. I'm gonna take. So Seattle gets 6 points.
I think Seattle covers.
Yeah. Really?
Seattle covers.
So both you guys take Seattle. I'll take the Eagles and lay the 6.
Ooh, so we got
their field goal kickers is poor too.
Yeah.
Like you can't trust that guy.
Can't trust. No,
he's missed 7 kicks.
Yeah, he's terrible. So anyway, it'll be great, boys. It was fun to be back in the Meatlocker, right here at Riley's Pub.
Yeah, and Mr. Riley himself just walked in.
Oh, look at that. Oh man, the holiday season is upon us. Yes.
You got it.
Merry Christmas.
Very Christmassy, Dennis Riley.
Well, Jaws, as always, you're an incredible host. We have great people here hanging out with us. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you hanging out on the Meatlocker podcast.
All right. Can't wait
till next week.
Jaws. Yep. Enjoy it. Thanks, everybody. Good live crowd.
Don't start.
You ready, boys?
Go over to Meatlocker.